What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down some very important technical developments, what's going on with the charts and the news affecting the markets, and some very big news that came out for Tesla. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. Now, this offer ends in just 8 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the markets and Tesla. So, looking at Tesla, we saw this thing continuing to sell out towards this 208 area, which is the level we called out from yesterday. And Tesla ended up seeing some buyers trying to defend it right here. Now, this does not mean that Tesla has bottomed just yet. There is likely and very possibly more selling that could come, as I talked about in previous videos, but we could see a temporary bounce very, very soon. It may happen over the next couple of days. So I wanted to call that out and then break down more technical levels to be watching for, especially as we're looking at Tesla so far. Now, when it comes to the market, I just wanted to call out that the market and the futures are continuing to fall today as the 10-year treasury yield is continuing to hold up. It started to drop a little bit just like about an hour ago, but we're going to be watching that very carefully to see how it affects the markets. Now, with the bond yields continuing to be boosted, this is once again scaring the markets, and it's especially because of the things that Powell said in the past, which are causing yields to be anticipating a more hawkish Fed. When it comes to what's happening to earnings, as a reminder, we have GM, Coca Cola all coming out tomorrow morning, Alphabet, Microsoft after the market closes, IBM and Meta after the market closes on Wednesday. And for Thursday, we have Amazon and Intel. So we have some big tech earnings coming out. Here's how the calendar looks like for Tuesday through Thursday. Big tech between Tuesday and Thursday will be coming out. Now, for Monday, which is today, we just have a couple of banks coming out, like the Bank of Hope, Bank of Hawaii. They're yet to be announcing their earnings. So we're going to be watching to see what they end up saying and how this affects the markets moving forward. Now, going back, there's some more news coming out involving what's happening in Israel and also, in Gaza. And it's just very, very dirty, very, very sad. But, things like this happen during conflicts. And the best thing we could do is just hope for the best and just support as many citizens as possible who are innocent. Anyways, going forward, I just wanted to call out that Chevron said it's going to be buying Hess in a $53 billion all stock deal. This is some big news that could increase oil production, which could once again bring down gas prices in the future. It may take some time, though, a few months for this to come into play. As time goes on, there's more news that came out here about scrutiny for Google because of anti competitive practices under Japan's Fair Trade Commission as it's expanding to Japan. And there are more allegations continuing in the EU and the USA. Last but not least, Tesla has hit over 1 million vehicles across Europe. So this is some big news for them, and that's great news as we're seeing the popularity boom for these Teslas and more individuals buy into them. 14 years ago, they delivered their first Roadster to Europe, and now they hit over 1 million across the road there, and that's some great news for Tesla. Now, moving forward, let's talk about the share price. How are things looking? So one thing that's good about Tesla for the bulls would be this. On the 30 minutes time frame, we have a triple bullish divergence on the MACD and also on the RSI. On the 30 minutes, the hourly says the same thing. Basically, we have a bullish divergence, and the 4 hour is also looking very, very oversold when the RSI is only at 15. So what I see for Tesla is, could it drop a bit more? Yeah, it could. It could drop a little bit more, but I'm anticipating a bounce very soon. We have a triple bullish divergence that's continuing to develop, and it's very, very oversold. It's due for some kind of bounce from a technical standpoint. So I believe, okay, if Tesla holds 208 as the bottom, if it doesn't break this, we could see this start trying to uptrend and get very close to this liquidity area at this 215. It's like 213 area, and then 215 come next. If we break that, 216.8 is a possibility, 218, then 220 above that. Those are going to be some important levels. If you get above 220, that's when Tesla could start to uptrend a little bit more. Now, if we, lose 208, right, if we continue to sell off, which I think Tesla could do, we could see a backtest of 208 before a bounce, or we could sell off a little bit more below 208 first, a little bit more selling to about 205 or so, the very low 200s, and then we get our bounce. We're not that far away from them. And then we should see a very small temporary bounce. We'll see Tesla move many points to the upside back into the 210s, if not getting very close to 218 to 220. So once again, we could see 208 be the bottom, then a bounce all the way back up to at least 215. Or we could, break below 208, come all the way down to 205, and then we see some buyers step in very close to these lower 200s to defend and start pushing this thing even higher, right? It's got to be one of those two. The bottom should be coming soon, just like a temporary bottom. I'm not saying that Tesla's going to be ultimately bottoming into 100. We're still yet to see that. I'm just talking about a very small technical bounce that Tesla's due for, and it's just going to be a small temporary bounce, which I think Tesla could be seeing. But there could always be more downside for the markets for the next week and a half later on for the ultimate bottom to be coming. And I think that's going to be coming soon. So for SPY, I just wanted to call out something else. On SPY, let me say two things. There could be a temporary bounce coming soon over the next few days, but we could always come down lower later on. And for October, the ultimate bottom, in my opinion, should be between 410 and 418. Somewhere in this giant zone is where the bottom is going to be. And then, the reason why I'm calling such a big range is because this will be the ultimate bottom, in my opinion. The ultimate, bottom. And then we're going to see a lot of buyers start to uptrend this market for November. We're going to see a big bull run once we reach one of these levels. We already hit 418, so I'm not sure if that's going to be the final bottom, but for now, we're just going to be watching these levels. So that's for the more medium term, though. But what about the short term? Here's my answer. On SPY, we actually invalidated some of the buy signals we got yesterday. So we invalidated the bullish divergence and many other divergences that have been developing. So it's looking a bit weaker. On SPY, watch 418 is key support. If we lose this, watch 416.29, then 415. And one of these three levels, I think buyers will step in depending on how we end up breaking. And then for resistance, watch 420. If we break down, watch 422, then 423.67 as the key resistance levels. It looks like we might reject off 420, come down to 418. Not sure if this will hold. We could drop a little bit more, just a tiny bit more dropping, guys, before the buyers start to step in, start to push this right back up into above 420, for example. And I think it just needs a little bit more time to do so. Now, one thing that is good for the bulls would be the fact that we have an Elliott wave sequence on the smaller time frames. I think I'm going to switch over to the hourly. I guess it doesn't really matter, but basically this is a 5-count Elliott wave sequence that is completing on SPY. You guys can see this is 5-count sell signal. Not a 5-count sell signal, but the Elliott wave sequence that has been developing. So this could be a good sign for the bulls, right? We had wave 1 right here, wave 2. Wave 3 was down here. This is wave 4. And we're going to see the final wave 5 very soon, all the way down here before we end up bottoming out. Now, it is possible we get a small rebound first. We rebound a little first before we make the final bottom. And then the market's going to start to uptrend later on. And I think that's what's going to happen very soon. All right, so watch those levels on SPY. Now I'm just going to try to be kind of quick, guys. For the QQQ, we're going to be watching 352.5 as key support. If we lose it, you're going to be watching this thing come down to 350. For resistance, watch 353.5, then 355. Market looks like it could retest 352.5, maybe even 350. A little bit of a drop on the QQQ before we see buyers step in and try to push it back towards 355, in my opinion. So watch it retest 352.5, if not 350, then bounce and push back up to 355. Those are going to be some very, very nice levels. If we lose 350, we could turn even more bearish, but my gut tells me some buyers will try to defend for the time being. Nvda came down to a key zone. Basically, we came down to about this 407 to 409 area we called out yesterday. So if buyers, continue to step in, we could see this thing push for 420 plus. We need to see this get above 416.8. We need to see Nvidia break this previous support, becoming resistance. All right. So buyers are defending 407 to 409. If we lose it, watch 405, 402, and then 400 as key supports. We're going to be watching these levels very, very carefully. But my gut tells me that Nvidia is going to find, a temporary bottom for the time being because of the fact that we have a bullish divergence on the chart that's developing. You could see it right about here. We have a nice bullish divergence, a triple bullish divergence. So Nvidia should try to bounce soon. Could drop a little bit more. We could be watching for a retest of 407. If not, these very low 400s before some buyers try to step in and defend. So Nvidia could see a temporary bounce soon. And then on Apple, we're seeing something very similar. Apple's still looking kind of weak, but we're going to be watching 170 as support. If we lose it, there's some nice support at 169, also 168, these two levels. I think that Apple, it could drop a little bit more towards 169 and some buyers can step in depending on if 170 holds. And it's going to eventually come back to 172 for that retest. So 170 could hold and buyers could push us to 172. Or we could drop even lower to like 169, then buyers could try to defend us towards 172. We'll have to just wait and see. All right, so on Tesla, guys, we have a triple bullish divergence in the process of developing. It is not playing out just yet, so I still think Tesla will attempt to bounce soon. It's just that it's looking kind of weak as of right now. There could be a little bit more selling, so watch these very, very key support levels, and pretty soon buyers will likely step in just for a temporary bounce. But watch these supports and see where Tesla tries to hold. We will see if Tesla drops any lower, if 208 ends up holding, and we'll see how it goes from there. But anyways, thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks again, and peace out.